Orlando Magic HQ was poppin'. So Magic fans, last night, May 16th, concluded the 2023 NBA Draft Lottery, and there was a lot of expectations, and it was highly anticipated going into the night as the Magic had a 9% chance to win this year's Draft Lottery and have the #1 overall pick and the rights to center from Victor Wembanyama from France. And Magic fans, spoiler alert, we didn't get the #1 overall pick, and we didn't even land inside the top 5. The Magic will be selecting with the 6th and 11th overall pick in this year's draft, the 6th pick being the rights to our own lottery pick, and the 11th pick being the Chicago Bulls lottery pick from the Nikola Vucevic trade from a couple of seasons ago. So the Magic, while they didn't land inside the top 2, top 3, the Magic still have to feel very confident with where they sit right now, still having both of their lottery picks, and the Magic still have 2 cornerstone pieces in Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner to build around. So Magic fans, I really want to talk in this video about the potential and the possibility of the Magic possibly trading both of these picks and going out there to acquire some veteran players to help elevate this team right now. And I also want to talk about the Magic potentially staying pat at number 6 and 11 and talking about some guys that the Magic could potentially draft. And I don't want to go too far into depth with this video. I want to just briefly touch on this and kind of give a first reaction as to the Magic landing both the 6th and the 11th pick in this year's draft. But before I really get into today's video, I do want to give a huge shout out to the 6 Man Podcast for hosting the event last night at the Wall Street Plaza. I want to give a huge shout out to the Orlando Magic HQ staff and the entire Orlando Magic fan base and community in general. Downtown last night, if I had to guess, there was probably 300-400 people out there showing up for the 6 Man Podcast and really just showing up for the NBA Draft Lottery as a whole. It's great to see a sense of community and a sense of urgency within the community, to see how much that we've grown and to show that we really believe in the direction of this team moving forward, and to really show our pride for the Orlando Magic, man. So I just want to say a big shout out to everybody out there last night. What a great time it was, and can you guys imagine how much fun it'll be downtown when we bring a trophy back home to Orlando, hopefully sooner rather than later. But Magic fans, let's actually get into today's video. So Magic fans, really getting into the first topic, let's actually look at the roster construction as of right now. For the starters, you're going to have guys like Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs in the backcourt. You're going to have Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Wendell Carter all in the front court. And then when you move to the bench, you're going to talk about guys like Cole Anthony, who's going to be heading into his 4th season with the Orlando Magic, a guy who's really embraced that 6-man role. Caleb Houston, Gary Harris, Mo Wagner, Goga. And then when you even go further down and deeper into the depth chart, you're going to look at guys like Jonathan Isaac coming back off of injury, Michael Carter-Williams. You're going to talk about guys like Bol Bol, Chuma Okeke, Kevon Harris. The list goes on. And while there is a lot of depth with this team, there is a lot of pieces that we still need to continue to upgrade, and I think that the Magic could possibly do that in this year's draft. So Magic fans, let's really get into the first topic of this video and talk about the Magic potentially trading for a veteran to help elevate and upgrade this team as of right now. So the first guy I really want to talk about is going to be with Anthony Simons, and Anthony Simons is someone who's extremely familiar in the Central Florida community, as he went to high school here in Orange County at Edgewater High School. He's only 23 years of age. He'll be 24 as of June 8th, and Anthony Simons is a great combo guard who's going to continue to elevate his game. And in 62 games this season, Anthony Simons averaged a career-high 21 points on 44, 37, and 89 splits. He's an extremely young guard who I think has still a lot of potential and a very high offensive ceiling in the game today. And Anthony Simons, while he is in the 2nd year of a 4-year, $100 million contract, I do think that Anthony Simons would not only love to come back to Central Florida and be closer to home, but to also be on a team and be on a roster where he's going to get a lot of opportunities alongside some great talented players in Paolo Banchero, in Franz Wagner, Markelle Fultz. The list goes on. Anthony Simons is someone I would definitely be willing to target, and I'm not necessarily saying that Jeff Weltman and the front office have to give up picks 6 and 11. I'm just generalizing that I think that the Magic could potentially use these picks, or a pick or two, to go ahead and move and get a guy who can help elevate this team right now. Let's actually talk about another guy I'd be willing to trade for. Now, talking about another player that I'd be willing to trade for is going to be a very unlikely player that's not going to probably happen, with a guy in Jalen Brown. Now, we all know Jalen Brown is one of the best two-way guards in the game today. He's one of the catalysts for the Boston Celtics. He's just 26 years of age. And the thing is with Jalen Brown, now that he made All-NBA this past season, he's going to be eligible for a 5-year, $295 million Supermax extension from the Boston Celtics. So the odds of him passing up on a contract where he's going to be able to get that Supermax eligibility from the team that owns his rights he's probably not going to pass up that opportunity. He's probably going to sign on the dotted lines. And the rule is with the Supermax if you sign the Supermax, you have to wait at least 1 year from the date it was signed in order to trade that player. So that scenario is most likely out of the window. But if I just wanted to fantasize about the opportunity of Jalen Brown coming to Orlando, however that may be, I think that would be a seamless fit. When you talk about a guy in Jalen Brown who really probably wants to embrace his own team, knowing that he'll kind of always be in the shadow of a guy in Jason Tatum, which both of them are great in their own respect, but Jalen Brown next to a guy in Banchero, Fultz, Franz Wagner, and Wendell Carter, I think you can't go wrong there. I think that's a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference when healthy. And we've seen Jalen Brown, like I said, be one of the best two-way guards in basketball. Like I said, that's probably an outlandish take out there, but just the idea of Jalen Brown coming to Orlando, I think that would be a seamless fit. I would love to get a two-way combo guard like him or an Anthony Simons really coming to Orlando. Now, instead of trading for a veteran, let's actually talk about the Magic potentially trading up, right? Could the Orlando Magic trade up to number 2 with the Charlotte Hornets and possibly take a Scoot Henderson? If the Magic want to go in that direction, is that probably going to happen? That's probably unlikely. And then you talk about the number 3 overall pick in the Portland Trail Blazers. They're looking to move off of that pick in order to try to build a championship roster around a guy in Damian Lillard. Now look, is them moving that number 3 pick most likely going to get them someone who's going to help bring a championship next to Damian Lillard? Probably not, but who knows what their general manager in that front office can work up there in Portland. So the Magic are probably not in the likelihood of trying to go up there and trying to get a Brandon Miller or a Scoot Henderson. Even with having 2 lottery picks, the likelihood of that happening is probably slim to none. So I highly doubt that the Magic, if they are going to trade in this year's draft, I highly doubt that they're going to trade up and package these picks. I find it very unlikely. Now let's talk about the potential of the Magic staying pat at pick 6 and 11, not trading up, not trading for a veteran. They say, hey, we're going to continue to build through the draft, build this young core, and build around our 2 cornerstone pieces in Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. So some guys that'll notably be there at 6 and 11 most likely, because we're going to assume Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson, and Brandon Miller are going to be gone in the top 3. Then let's assume that we're going to have guys like Jarris Walker, Cam Whitmore, Grady Dick, the Thompson twins, Anthony Black, Taylor Hendricks, the list goes on. Let's just assume that we have these guys to pick from with pick 6, and some of these guys are going to fall to pick 11. The Magic can absolutely go out there and continue to build through the draft and get guys that are going to complement what Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner do best. One guy that I'm absolutely not passing up under any circumstances if I'm the Orlando Magic is Grady Dick at pick number 6. Now that might be a little bit of a reach to go out there and grab a shooting guard like him at 6'8", what he can do defensively, guarding on the perimeter, how aggressive and tenacious he is. And Grady Dick is a guy who shot over 40% from behind the arc in his freshman season at Kansas. Grabbing a shooter, grabbing a guy with that elite athleticism that you see on both sides of the court. I like Grady Dick coming to Orlando and really being almost a seamless fit. And obviously it's going to take some time to adjust to the NBA game. And then 2 other guys that I absolutely want to target are going to be guys with Cam Whitmore from Villanova. And yes, I'm going to be a little bit biased. Hometown hero who went to UCF, Taylor Hendricks. And Taylor Hendricks, I think, is a great forward. I think he's going to be a guy who has a very high ceiling. I think it'll be a little bit more of an adjustment for him to adjust at the next level, but I think Taylor Hendricks is still going to be a great player. I got to witness him with my own eyes going to UCF this past semester in the 1 or 2 games that I did get to attend. And then a guy in Cam Whitmore who went to Villanova. I think Cam Whitmore's got exceptional athleticism. He comes in at about 6'7", 6'8", and I think he's got an extremely high ceiling, even though he didn't play exceptionally well in that Creighton game in March Madness. And I do think Cam Whitmore is someone that I'd definitely be willing to target alongside Taylor Hendricks. Regardless, if the Magic are going to stay pat, I want to take Grady Dick under all circumstances. I want him on my team, and then I want a handful of other guys like Taylor Hendricks and Cam Whitmore, or maybe anybody else that Jeff Weltman in the front office believes can help build this young roster and this core up. And regardless if the Magic decide to go out and trade for a veteran, or if they want to stand pat and build through the young core, I still think that the Magic need to go out there in free agency and at least get one key notable free agent out there to really help bring a veteran presence into this locker room, to help rally the guys and really get these guys buying into a system. Kind of like what we saw from Steven Adams, what he did for Memphis, coming over from that New Orleans Pelicans trade. And even if a lot of these guys like Triple J, John Morant, Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane. If a lot of these young guys didn't want to listen to Steven Adams, you can't take away the effect that a veteran presence like Steven Adams would have on a locker room and in the huddle and really on these road trips. Because if I'm Jeff Weltman and I'm the front office, I personally am going to stand pat at pick 6 and 11. I'm going to continue to build on my young core and my nucleus and make sure I get pieces that fit around Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. And then I'm going to go out there and sign at least one notable player in free agency, whether I'm talking about guys like Christian Wood, talking about guys like Brook Lopez, maybe even Karis LeVert. The list goes on. There's a lot of great quality free agents out there that the Magic can pick from. The Magic have a lot of cap space, and I think bringing that kind of veteran leadership to this group into the huddles would really benefit the Orlando Magic, because the expectation is that the Magic are going to at least be in the play-in and possibly make next year's playoffs. I personally have us making next year's playoffs if we're healthy, and I do think that bringing in a veteran would really help ensure that this team has the best chances of making a playoff push next year, and that's where I'm personally at with it. Go and grab a veteran in free agency and stand pat at number 6 and 11. But Magic fans, like I said, I did not want to get too deep into today's video. I just wanted to briefly touch on the different kind of possibilities and scenarios that are out there for Jeff Weltman and the entire front office to go out there and possibly do in this year's draft. But Magic fans, we want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below about your reaction to the Magic landing the number 6 and 11th pick in this year's draft. But Magic fans, if you guys could, make sure you guys go ahead and drop a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it helps me and the channel out tremendously. Make sure you guys also go ahead and hit that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more Magic content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure you guys also go ahead and follow me on my socials and Orlando Magic HQ on our socials, especially on Twitter. We're very active and we're on there every single day. The link tree will be in the description down below, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. But Magic fans, that's it for this video. Thank you guys again. Brett James, aka BJ. I'm out, y'all. Go Magic, baby. Peace.